In this video, we're revealing 6 theories why Frieza doesn't have a 5th form like his older brother Cooler. The thumbnail credit for this video is from Dragon Ball Multiverse, the fan manga, where Frieza had a 5th evolution in their grand tournament. So when we talk about 5th form, we need to define what that is. Are we talking about a 5th form or Cooler's specific 5th form as the only possible evolution? Well, I think most people want to know why Frieza doesn't have Cooler's further evolution as well. Frieza does actually have a 5th form, the golden form, but as we know, it looks nothing like Cooler's. Frieza achieved the new golden form when he trained for 4 months after the Battle of God saga. Frieza's golden evolution is completely different to Cooler's evolution, but it's an evolution along the same line. Cooler calls his form in Japanese the ultimate transformation, but it's also other times referred to as super evolution. It might seem wrong to call it an evolution though, because it comes across like a forced transformation, like what Super Saiyan Grade 3 is to the Saiyans. Instead of being leaner, more lightweight and slenderer, Cooler actually increased his height, added spikes, muscles, flesh, and looks way more bulkier overall. However, Cooler never showed any key stamina issues or difficulty in wielding it. The fight was quite short with Goku, but long enough to expose any weaknesses in the evolution, of which there weren't any obvious ones. Now let's talk about 6 theories why Frieza doesn't have a 5th form. Theory 1. Frieza had inferior genes compared to Cooler. Frieza stated he was born as a prodigy, in the Resurrection of F manga released just before the movie. This is true because he powered up to surpass Goku Super Saiyan Blue after just 4 months of training. On the other hand, Cooler was never stated to be a prodigy, yet he had a further evolution, the ultimate evolution, that he'd never showed anyone. So why did Cooler have it and not Frieza? Well, it could be genetics. If Cooler wasn't born in his super evolution and or didn't train to achieve it, the only option left is Cooler might have had a genetic advantage. He could be a mutant member of his race. If Frieza could have evolved further than his 100% power, he would have used it against Super Saiyan Goku, right? Despite Frieza being a prodigy, perhaps it's only applicable when he trains and he just doesn't have the ultimate genetic makeup like Cooler did, so he couldn't evolve further. However, if Golden Frieza and Super Evolution Cooler were to fight each other with equal power levels in their true form, Frieza would easily win since his golden form is miles stronger than the power of any 5th form, like for example Super Saiyan Blue is against Super Saiyan 3, even though it has time and stamina limits like Super Saiyan Blue. If Frieza had a 5th form on Namek, Goku would have lost, as he was much weaker without the Yardrat training that Goku had completed by the time of Movie 5 technically. What would have been interesting is what if Frieza demonstrated his version of Cooler's super evolution during the Resurrection of F arc, only to still lose to Goku and then be forced to use his golden form. Theory 2. Frieza wasn't old enough to achieve it. Cooler kept referring to Frieza as his brother. So what if Cooler's older age meant he could evolve further? However, if this were the requirement, wouldn't their father King Cold be able to evolve to a 5th and maybe even a 6th form? And why didn't we see it against future Trunks? Well, King Cold simply didn't have time to transform, as it does take some time, particularly if they're not used to it. However, this theory is unlikely, as I believe King Cold would have transformed in haste if he could. If he could beat future Trunks, why wouldn't he? Theory 3. Cooler's form was created solely by his own individual motivation. Cooler seemed to have an inferiority complex when it came to his relationship with his brother Frieza, so in some ways it would make sense that he created his further evolution to be enormous and imposing, as opposed to Frieza's small and slender design. He may have also taken some inspiration from his father King Cold, who was similarly large and imposing. Perhaps Cooler, in spite of his brother, made his evolution to be the reverse of Frieza's suppressed forms. There definitely could be some underrated brotherly rivalry going on here, guys. So, in short, Frieza didn't develop a 5th form because he didn't have the spiteful motivations of his brother. Theory 4. Frieza didn't want an evolution, or didn't have the idea to develop one that looked like Cooler's. Whilst Cooler states he never showed anyone the form, perhaps Frieza could sense it was possible within himself, but didn't ever want to change his appearance to what his brother did. Perhaps he was so proud of his true birth form that to power that up, all he thought was to pump his muscles up to 100% with immense ki generated using the ki. In his arrogant mind, this was all that he thought would be required. Later, when it came to training for 4 months, he mostly kept the look of his true form, making only minor modifications and adding the gold colour to mock the Super Saiyans Goku and future Trunks who trashed his pride. Frieza chose his ultimate evolution to not look anything like Cooler's, because it's down to them individually to craft it. It's a bit like why Vegeta never went Super Saiyan 3. It's because he didn't want to, and he wanted to grow stronger through a different pathway than Goku. It's similar with Frieza too, except he didn't know of Cooler's further evolution and its appearance. Theory 5. Frieza never trained. Let's assume for a minute that Cooler's evolution was developed through training, like Golden Frieza was. Well, Frieza never had a reason to train before Namek, as his weakest form was enough to destroy a whole planet, a whole species, and still have the entire universe bow before him, and he still had vast amounts of power concealed. Perhaps if Frieza trained since he was born, he could have had this further evolution. Cooler, on the other hand, might have been learning ki control after running into a being who wielded it on some planet, kind of like how Vegeta learnt to sense power levels after going to Earth. After mastering ki control, Cooler could remain in a resting state equivalent to Frieza's 100% power. He was then able to channel his ki more effectively and create an ascended evolution. This would explain how Cooler was able to suppress his ki and sense others in Movie 5, as how else did he sneak up on everyone undetected and attack even post-Yardrat Goku by surprise? Frieza in this situation would have been sensed from far away as he knew little about reducing his ki to 0. Even in his first suppressed form, he still radiated a lot of ki naturally and could be sensed from across the planet at many points. To counter this argument though, it's never stated Cooler achieved the further evolution by breaking his limits through training. It wasn't suggested Cooler broke his limits like Frieza did to achieve the golden form. Also, despite Cooler being more serious than Frieza, he didn't seem the type to train. Movie 5 starts with Cooler lounging in his chair and he sits on his throne in whatever planet he conquers. Plus, after injuring Goku later on, he left it to his squad to finish off Goku, and like his brother, Cooler probably wouldn't have ever run into anyone powerful enough that would force him to train. Theory 6. Frieza hadn't mastered his race's power-limiting abilities. Cooler's evolution might have resulted from mastering his race's ability to create power-suppressing forms to the point where Cooler took it in the opposite direction. He was the first to create a stable evolution stronger than his true form to the point of wielding his power properly, rather than straining his body with the bulked up 100% state. At the time, the power boost was incredible, making Cooler much more powerful and faster than Frieza ever was, and defeating a post-Yardrat Goku who was using Kaioken. It's not clear whether Cooler knew of his brother's 100% power form. However, Cooler wasn't a prodigy like Frieza, who gained incredible strength from just 4 months training, but Frieza wasn't bright enough to counteract his weakness of thinking he could overwhelm anyone by getting so much stronger. That's why he opted for a limit breaker, potential unlocker form stacked on top of his bulked up 100% state. Do you like Cooler's 5th form without the face shield or not? And would you like to have seen Frieza get this 5th form and with or without the face shield? Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below, and also let me know which numbered theory you think was the reason why Frieza doesn't have a 5th form, and it also can be a combination of the theories like 1, 3, and 5, or just number 3. And last video's hashtag Ender's winner is Jason Rivera. Congratulations to you, and thanks to everyone who watches my videos all the way through till the end. And if you made it this far, comment down below hashtag Enders for your chance to get featured at the end of the next video. And also guys, remember to like and subscribe, and if you missed it, check out this video on how strong was Mecha Frieza. Thanks, Kai Kai!